Hey, what's good, y'all? It's Singer, and today I will be showing each and every one of you how Glorytee makes crazy beats for Sgpwes and Slump6s that sound a little something like this. So the first thing that I laid down for the melody is this brass from Vnexy's 3K drum kit, and it sounds like this. Something that's super common for these kind of beats are these intervals that exchange notes that are one note away from each other in the scale. So for this instance, it's going from C to C sharp. This chord progression, so to speak, is not super melodic, but it's great for making these super dark and anthemic beats. For the brass, I have the ADSR panel looking like this. That way, when I release the note, the sound cuts off completely. And that allows me to do little flares like these. That's pretty standard. I don't really need to go into much there, so let's move into the next part of the melody. Next thing I have laid down is the Fatboy Razor Smiles from Hive, and it's just giving it a sort of rhythmic component. So this is what that sounds like. All it's doing is following the bass line, and I have it laid down in a pretty basic rhythmic pattern. After that, I have the classic yeet bell, but low in the octaves. This isn't exactly essential when it comes to making Glorytee beats, but it is pretty common. So this is what the bell sounds like. To get that little reverse effect that I did at the end here, all I do is throw down a slide note with max velocity and then a note below it with 0 velocity. All this does is it makes it slide from the no velocity note up to the high velocity note without giving it any sort of punchy transient. All right, now we're getting into the fun part here. After I had that bell laid out, I grabbed this super glitchy sound from Hive, and I just have that playing in arpeggiated pattern using the fifths of the bass line. Now, before I said bells aren't exactly essential for these kind of beats, but these kind of crazy glitchy arps are 100% essential. And you want these bad boys to be as chaotic and all over the place as possible. So to accomplish that, I throw in gross beat with the Chaos 11 preset on it. For these kind of beats, especially with these glitchy components, gross beat is your best friend. And then I also have on Effectrix with a custom preset with these settings. So without any of the effects, this is what it sounds like. And with the effects, this is what it sounds like. After that, I have yet again another glitchy aspect from Hive, being the glitch therapy preset. And this is what it sounds like. I just threw this in to throw in a little bit of background glitchy ambience, and yet again I have it on the Chaos 11 preset from Gross Beat. I also threw on some OTT to make it stand out in the mix a little bit more and give it some more high end. And the final component that I have laid down for the melody is this layered lead. For this, I just have it playing the fifths of the bass line, and in order to get that, you just pitch your bass line up by 7 semitones. And since this is a one-shot, I was able to add in these really cool slide notes to give it a little bit more style. Now, the first lead was kind of dry and lacking, so I threw down this second lead using Serum, although the slide notes don't work anymore, but it does create a little bit of variation within the lead. So with that being said, this is what all the melodic components sound like together. Alright, so now that we've got the melody done, let's move into the drums. Alright, so all the drums in this beat are from one of 3 places: the Starboy Rob stash kit, Vnexy's 3K drum kit, and my Hive stash kit. So the first 808 that I'm starting with here is from Starboy Rob stash kit, and this is what it sounds like. Now the bounce here seems kind of unfinished, and that's because I threw down a second 808. And this 808 yet again is from Starboy Rob stash kit, and this is what it sounds like. I freaking love this 808, especially with that like filter phaser kind of sound. It just sounds so nice in the mix. After that, I threw down this clap from my Hive stash kit. And next, I threw down this snare from Vinexi's 3K drum kit. As you can tell, this doesn't look like a typical snare pattern. It's kind of all over the place, but that's kind of what you want to go for these kind of beats. So there's not really much that I need to go over with this snare, except for this one roll. This little thing right here is in the majority of songs that I've heard produced by Glorytee. So if you're really trying to copy that sound, just throw in this snare roll and you are golden. Next thing I have laid down is this crazy complex hi-hat from my Hive stash kit. And the MIDI for this hi-hat is from my Genesis MIDI kit, which you can get in the link in the description. So this is what the hi-hat sounds like. On that hi-hat, I have Effectrix with this pattern, just giving it a little bit of reverse notes, some filters, and then a downward stare. Next thing I threw down was this open hat from my Hive stash kit. And the final component of the melody is this Zay Chant. I haven't used one of these in a beat for like 2 or 3 years, but it seems like they're kind of making a comeback, so I threw it in here. So with that being said, this is what the drums sound like all together. So now that we've got everything in the beat done, this is what the final product sounds like. So that's gonna pretty much cover how Glorytee makes insane beats for Slump6s and Sgpwes. Hopefully you enjoyed the tutorial and learned something new. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the comments down below and I will do my best to answer them. Also consider subscribing as I post 4 tutorials every single week, 2 long ones and 2 short ones. Other than that, that's gonna be it. Peace.